Thank you for listening to Lone Star Community Radio. This program was broadcasted and recorded live from the LSCR studios in downtown Conroe, Texas. Lone Star Community Radio is supported by listeners like you. Donate and sponsor today. For more information on getting involved with Lone Star Community Radio, contact us at lscrstudios@gmail.com or visit us online at www.irlonestar.com. All right, Mornings with Lone Star here on Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com worldwide, and also live on Facebook, YouTube, Conroe's FM 104.5, 106.1. I'm hanging out in the studio with Steve Krase. He is going to be a performer at the upcoming Conroe Cross Roads. It's going to be technically this weekend. He's going to be playing on, I believe, if I'm looking at the schedule correctly, it's going to be at the Red Brick Tavern at around 10:30 on Friday, April 14th. So Friday, April 14th, your tickets to the Conroe Cross Roads Festival will get you to see Steve Krase live on stage at the Red Brick Tavern. I'm looking at.
I think it's 10.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's weird how they do it. I want to, you know how weird this is. I'm gonna put this up for everyone to see because I can't really understand it. I'm not very good at this. So if people are on Facebook, YouTube, they can see what I'm showing. You can kind of see it says, I guess there's a gray area between 10 and 10:30 maybe. Do you see what I'm talking about? I can't really. It's like right here. I don't know what that even means.
Well,
let's hear it from Steve. Let's hear it from Steve. Steve, when do you perform?
I'm planning to hit the stage at 10 o'clock on the 14th at the Red Brick Tavern.
Okay.
So I'll be there, and I like to tell everybody we're going to play till 4:30 in the morning. But we'll do whatever.
Well, that's one thing I love about the Red Brick is you never know. And if people don't know who Debbie Glenn is, she's the main lady there, and it's always like if she's there, it's pretty much open. It's really creepy. Like an old school restaurant, it's like if she's there, she's having a good time.
That's right, and all of our shows that we've been there, and Debbie's been there. It's been. You never know what to expect, and we go pretty late. We had some good times.
Yeah, their food is
amazing.
Yeah, we went there last week. The Taste Fest, Conroe's Chamber's doing the Taste Fest, and they're a participant, and they changed it up since COVID, where now you get like a pass.
Right.
And basically you can take that pass to all participating restaurants and get like a sample or a brownie or whatever.
I missed it.
So no, it's starting April, the weekend. It's starting the weekend of Conroe Cross Roads.
Oh, right on. So good.
It's really interesting because it's like I think for non-members it's like $40, but there's like 50 restaurants you can go
right
to.
On. I definitely.
And you can just say, hey, can I try this? I think Debbie's doing the brownie, the skillet brownie, I think, and then you can try her shrimp and grits.
Okay.
It's really crazy. It's kind of weird. But I like it. I mean, it gets you out because there's so many good places. I mean, Waffle House is on the list. I'm like, what are they going to give you? Like a fourth of a waffle? Like, what does that even mean?
Yeah, well, I'm also a foodie, right? In addition to my music thing.
Oh, really?
I love food, so I got a little Facebook. When I post stuff, it's a mixture of music, food, and dogs, and it's always a toss up between what gets the most attention.
Well, I would describe your music, and this is going to be ignorant of me, like Zydeco / blues. I mean, you're kind of Louisiana style, I guess. But see, I'm not a musician, so I have no idea about genres.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I have the one Zydeco song, but
But it's not though. It's weird. It's like because you use the harmonica,
right,
and you're rocking. It's like to me, it's fun. That's what I would describe. I'm like, this is fun music.
That's what I try to do, man. It's like, I don't take myself too seriously. And Kim Wilson from the Fabulous Thunderbirds, one of the guys I look up to, he said, somebody asked him, well, how did you get into the blues and why did you get into the blues? He said, man, I just want to be part of it. When I heard it, I got to be part of it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
and that's just what I like to do. I like to, I don't take my, I pride myself in being an entertainer.
Yeah.
And we put on a good show and we have fun. I play the harmonica a little differently than most harmonica players do, more like guitar, and so we have a good time. And rock, blues, Zydeco, whatever.
It's weird. Because
country, we'll do whatever.
Music has changed so drastically because back, I'd say even in like right when the 40s started, that's when they started kind of doing different type of genres, but it was all in the same thing. Like country became country, and then rock and roll became rock and roll. Because when people say like the Beatles were rock and roll, I'm like, man, think about Metallica today.
Yeah.
And think about the Beatles. Like, did people both think those were rock and roll?
Right.
It's weird because back when the Beatles were the Beatles, yeah, they considered that rock and roll.
Yeah, rock. Yeah, rock means different things to different people. When I go to a blues club, a lot of the blues clubs, I'm too rock for them, right? And the rock clubs, I'm too blues for them, right?
Yeah.
So there was a music critic here in Houston Chronicle, Marty Racine, who doesn't live here anymore. But one of the things that he described is he was talking about Jerry Lightfoot and the Essentials, which used to be like the top band in Houston. He was my first band leader here. And he had a nice review of one of Jerry's shows. And he said, I don't know if it's blues, I don't know if it's rock and roll. It's right down the middle, and that's where I like it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what I like. I like the element. I like having elements of both.
So let's talk about the show. So you're going to be performing on, I believe, I already said it a couple times and already forgot it. That's not...
December 14th.
Yeah.
No, December.
Yeah.
Whatever month this is, April 14th.
It's going to be Friday, April 14th,
Yeah.
Red Brick. Red Brick, to me, I have a love-hate with musical acts there. And I think what it is when I think of that stage and I think of your music, how many people are going to fit on that stage?
Well, you know what? I've had a lot of people on that stage.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because I've been there.
I've had 9 people on that stage.
I mean, that's intense.
I've had 9 people on that stage.
So you're going. What are we going to? If I'm coming on Friday? What am I going to see?
I'm going to freaking blow you away, man.
Okay, that's all right.
I've got 2 guitar players. I've got I don't have a keyboard player. I got 2 guitar players, harmonica, bass,
So that place is
drums,
gonna be
and then
wild.
I have 2 special guest female singers that are coming in. So
Okay,
we're
see,
gonna
that's what I'm talking. Like, yeah, because that's like again that stage. You never know.
and if I can get a keyboard player between now and then, I might add one. So.
Well, you might. There's like 100 artists coming down for Conroe Cross Roads.
Yeah,
You'd be
man.
like, hey, you keyboard player, come on.
So I like that, and I think the audience likes that, right?
Oh, yeah.
When you can mix other people in, and I just love doing that. I love bringing other people in. I love collaborating with people. And the audience likes it.
Well, that's one thing I really hope with this Conroe Cross Roads, because this is the second year they start getting that reputation within the musical acts where the diversity of music, they start connecting with artists they would never connect with.
Sure.
And then when you start building that kind of connection, so hypothetically Conroe Cross Roads year 10, like, oh, I remember playing with that guy 5 years ago. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let me call him up before we get there, and let's see if we can do something.
For sure.
Because I think one of the coolest things I've ever seen is Bruce Robinson. I think I'm pronouncing that right. He's a singer-songwriter country artist.
Yeah.
I went to a festival that he played at, like on a Friday, and then I was just seeing him everywhere, like in
Right.
different stages.
Right.
And I was just like, is he in these bands? And then you're like, no, he's just buddies with this guy, and the guy asked him to come on and like play guitar. I'm like, okay, I see how it's going. Like, he's not coming in and out. He's not
Right.
coming for the festival and then piecing out right when his set's
Right,
done.
right.
And so that's why I hope this festival kind of turns into where people will stick around.
Yeah, man,
And-
that's I love that. I love that kind of scene, and I think that Conroe, this festival's got the potential to do that. Right? There's a little, some diversity in the music, as you pointed out. So.
Well, I think it's
fun.
one thing that I have to respect a lot for the city putting this on is you could tell they cared about the venues first. And when I say the venues, this is the festival's kind of in different venues around downtown Conroe.
Right.
But you can almost smell that all the artists that are playing at these venues are somewhat connected with that venue. Meaning, like, they probably had the meetings of the minds and are like, hey, we want to put this festival on. Who are good artists? And Red Brick's like, oh, Steve Krase. He's really good.
I think that's pretty much the way it went down.
Yeah.
Debbie's been a very big supporter of mine and the band. And as you observed, a lot of the music in the area is more country.
Trust me, that's all we play here because that's the only music I got regularly.
Well, and I hooked you up now, man.
So
I'm feeding you with some good, some different stuff now. So
yeah. Well, that's what's so funny is people always expect me to know every music, like genre, song, and I'm like, well, honestly, the only reason we played country is when we first opened. The first couple DJs we had, volunteer DJs, loved country.
Right.
So they would just play Americana country. And I'm like, here you go. You go have at it. As long as it doesn't curse, I'm cool with it. And now it's snowballed into this. And I'm like, I just don't want to listen to it.
Hey, if I had my own radio show, I'd play whatever I wanted to.
Yeah, true. Well, that's why I'm excited about this week because I'm just playing music all from this festival. So I'm
Right on.
learning so much new music. And I love it.
Right.
And that's why I was trying to encourage people, Monday through Friday this week, I'm just playing music featuring from the artists, and that's what that's what I want to do, because it's exciting for me to see all these artists come into town, and then I'm like, oh, guess what? I interviewed that guy. I'm gonna go see him play.
Yeah, and then your audience appreciates it because you're exposing them to some things that they hadn't been exposed to before.
Let me ask you this: like, when musical acts back in the day, this is before festivals.
Okay.
Because a lot of times when I remember festivals, it was usually like one day, one stage. There you go.
Yeah.
And then it started evolving to these multi-stage things, and then it became multi-weekends, and then like multi-days, and then it became multi-days on the weekends. Like ACL, like I remember when ACL first started.
Yeah.
I was very like I don't know how, I think I was like a child.
Yeah.
But when now today it's 2 weekends, and it's just one giant party basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what I think about is, what's the demographic that go to festivals, and do people really go to these festivals just to see one band, or now do they go and just to try to taste a little bit of everything?
I think that it's personally.
Yeah, because you're a musician, you've probably been to a lot of like in festivals, similar to the Conroe Cross Roads.
Well, certainly the headliner gets people's attention, right?
Yeah.
Like Willie Nelson's got this big festival going on, Outlaw Music Country Festival that's going on, and that's the draw. And then you look at the rest of it, and I think, but I think the headliner is absolutely the thing that gets your attention. ACL, I think it's a party, and the level of talent that's there, it's mind blowing. I mean, it's incredible acts that they move in there.
Well, I mean that because I think it's a bad example, because like the whole city of Austin gets crazy. I mean, like if you might buy a ticket,
right,
but you can still go to Austin that weekend and see hundreds of bands,
right,
and all their venues. Right. So it's kind of, and I think what I'm trying to get to with my point about festivals is I had this weird thought. My best friend loves traveling. That's like his thing, to travel, to go to festivals like Bonnaroo and stuff. I'm like, what happens when you hit like 60 and you start going to these festivals, and it's like our generation's used to going to these festivals, so we're all 60 years old going to Bonnaroo. I was like, do you think they're still going to do Bonnaroo, or do you think you can get like they're going to kick you out because you're too old to go to Bonnaroo? Because those are like young people festivals in my mind. I might be biased.
Yeah, man, I haven't been to a festival like that.
You know what I'm talking about, though?
I'm 65, so yeah, I get it.
Burning Man, is Burning Man a festival?
I guess it is. I got a friend of mine. He's just about my age. He goes every year.
Well, see, and that's what I think of. It's
that's
like
an experience, man.
I know, but it's like the people who originally started making these big, because like festivals really weren't that big until like I would say 20 years ago. When I say festivals, I mean like 3 days. People are spending a lot of money, paying $500 for a ticket, all this kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, now we're all old. Are we still going to go to these things? And when I had this funny thought, I go, because my parents live in Montgomery, and they asked me about this. And she's like, my mom was like, is it appropriate for someone my age? And I go, who cares? But I go, main thing about this festival is in venues that you've been to. So if you feel comfortable going to Red Brick, you're going to feel comfortable going to Red Brick during the Conroe Cross Roads.
Of course.
And so that's what I thought was kind of different from other festivals. It's like, yeah, you can come down here. You're not forced with shoulder to shoulder people in this weird, crazy crowd. It's like, no, like you can go to the corner pub. If you don't want to be at the corner pub, you can go to Pacific Yard House. And to me, that was like, I didn't really think about festivals catering to older people until my mom asked me that, because she thought festivals were for drugs and, young people and sweat, and you're just drinking a bunch of water because you're outside and dying.
Well, it's interesting because you see that in the venues as well for the genre of music, the blues genre as an example. The demographic for that is, it's older. It's not in the United States. The demographic's not young for blues shows. What I found in the shows in the city in Houston that we do, we play at a place called the Big Easy, which is a world famous blues club.
They have a weird tagline.
It's like Big Easy Social and Pleasure Club. But there's a whole story around
I know,
it.
but I just remember that. I was like, do I take a date there?
Nah, I know. A lot of people don't get it. That's a New Orleans thing.
Yeah.
Historically, there's been social and pleasure clubs, and it's a community kind of thing, and that's where Tom McClendon, that's where he got that from. So yeah, a lot of the people get the eyebrows raised, and they're
Yeah, and
afraid
it really
to go in there
is.
because of that, and then because it looks a little funky on the outside. But there, what I find is that a lot of our fans, they won't go to the Big Easy because it's it's a big dance floor and it can get crowded, it gets loud, and you might get a beer spilled on you. That's unusual, but. As opposed to like if we go play at the Monkey Duck or something like that, where it's reserved seats, there's tables, and people just feel more comfortable. They want to know they got a place to sit. They want to know somebody's going to bring them a drink and that there's food to have, right? And so that's part of it when you get older. Being older, I understand that, right? Sometimes you just don't feel like.
Well, it's because you have to, especially for the Conroe Cross Roads. It's like it's really important to establish yourself what kind of festival you want to be.
Yeah.
And number one is the acts. Like this is the kind of people we want to attract. And number two is the venues, and then also the times. Like how late are we going here?
Yeah.
And especially how long are each acts? And if you want to see acts, or is it like, realistically going and see 4 bands because there's so many bands and all that kind of stuff. But I think this is a good mix, and it's a healthy mix for all ages because you can come out at 6:00. Go see some shows, and if you feel like staying till midnight, there's probably a venue open. Plus, there's some free shows all around, like at the Firm, and then I think at the Heritage Place and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Now there used to be speaking of festivals, when I first moved to Houston in 1980, there was a festival here called the Juneteenth Blues Festival. It was a 2-week blues festival.
Where was that hosted?
It was in Miller Outdoor Theater was the main venue, but they had it in bars that you would have every night of the week. There were shows all around town.
But it wasn't like you had to buy a ticket for all of them.
I think it was all free.
Yeah,
it was all sponsors. A lot of the oil companies, energy companies got involved in it. And unfortunately, the fellow Lanny, I can't think of his last name, he passed away. And after he passed away, they tried to do it, and it fell apart like the next year.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a labor of love. And as we discussed, and then, you have to have volunteers. You got to get the community behind it, and you got to get the sponsorships. And it looks like Conroe Cross Roads Festival is on the right path. Man, I think this is exciting.
Yeah.
But anyway, but now Houston is one of the only cities in the country that doesn't have a major blues festival. You'll have a festival that's maybe one day, but like Chicago Blues Fest,
Well, their blues bars are closing. If I remember, like they had leave me a second. There's a place right by Griff's. There's a blues place. I'm probably gonna forget. I already forgot it. I forgot. Yeah, but like I feel like they're closing in a sense.
Yeah, we've lost some. Shakespeare Pub out on the west side is gone now. Fitzgerald's is gone. Sarah sold her place, which was that's the first place I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan. And
I don't understand that whole thing.
Yeah, and then of course Rockefeller's was they still do live music there, but it's not an every night thing. And so Big Easy is there's other blues clubs, but Big Easy is the main. Yeah,
I wish I forgot whoever bought is Rockefeller's the hotel kind of place on Washington.
It's not a hotel, but it used to be a bank. It's on the corner of Washington.
And it has that cool sign.
I don't remember. And then there's a Star Pizza there.
Okay.
And,
maybe I'm thinking of a different place. It's like they renovated it, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be a cool venue, but then it became like a fancy venue, and I was like,
I don't know about that. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Houston in probably a couple of years to go
well,
see live music.
the COVID thing really knocked me back. I didn't go downtown for a long time, so it has changed. There are a lot of new venues. Oh, Continental Club is another great place that they do a fantastic job of hosting live music, not just Houston, just not local music, but regional acts and national acts. Great, that's a great scene. That whole mid-Maine.
Well, I'm kind of excited here, especially in Montgomery County, because we're getting. New businesses are built for large crowds. Mm-hmm. So like the Shout House, I don't know if you've heard of this place. It's on the North Loop here, Northeast Loop. They have a really big backyard.
Is it called the Shot House?
Shout.
Oh, okay.
It's like a beer hall kind of thing.
Right. Okay. Cool.
But it's a big place, and then it's kind of like, have you been to Sawyer Park in the Woodlands?
I have.
See, that's a big place in my mind. Like I was like, when you walk in, they have 2 stages.
Right.
And I'm like, man, what are they planning on doing here? And so I was like, oh, that's cool. They're going to attract different types of acts here than, say, like the corner pub.
Right.
And so then I imagine there's got to be a place like that on 105 Lakeside. There kind of was with Wolfie's, and then Wolfie's turned into something else. And like
Papa's on the lake still?
Papa's is still there, but I have not seen them really do big, like unless it's like a fundraiser, it's like they don't do music anymore.
I used to do a regular show there with
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's on one day a week, but I know I drive by it all the time, and I'm like, I wonder why they have all this space. And then it's like they don't have something. Maybe during the summer, that's what they decide. Like, oh, we'll do 6 weeks of music, and then summertime's over, and it's too hot.
Well, the good thing about this area, as opposed to Austin, as an example, I mean, people think of Austin as a great music town, which it is, of course, but there's so many musicians there, it's very difficult to get paid. And so you have a lot of Austin musicians that are coming to Houston to get paid gigs, right? So the good thing about Houston in the area is there are a lot of stages, and there are a lot of venues that pay. And so the musicians here, you can make a living, playing music here full time. And so that's the good thing about Houston. It's a great music scene. It's not. I say Houston, Montgomery County, the greater Houston, Conroe area. A lot of stages. We don't publicize it as much. Conroe has the ability to make itself a music destination with this festival and the way this whole downtown area is.
Oh yeah,
it's fantastic.
Well, I think there's like at least 6 stages in downtown, and so it's insane. And what I hope is like what Austin has a positive on their side of musicians, they have foot traffic.
Yeah.
So you can get your band exposed, but here I always felt it was more scheduled. It's like, oh hey, we have this person coming in, and you come in just for that show. It's not like, oh, I go to Pacific Art House because they have great music every Tuesday. It's like it hasn't gotten to that point yet. I think they're trying at certain areas, especially on the weekends. Downtown is very busy now, and you can actually travel. You can go to different places. Like Red Brick, they do a great job having live acts. Like it's being consistent. And I think going forward, I think that's what people are going to try to do, where it's like, hey, every Friday, Saturday, let's try to have live music at these places. So that way people don't just stay there for one show. We go visit and check out other stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people like that. They want to go, they want to be stuck in one place. They want to be able to move around. And, downtown Conroe 20 years ago, I mean, what did you have?
Domino's.
A corner pub, I guess.
And a haircut. Get a haircut and play dominoes.
When I was trying to find gigs up here, there really wasn't any place to go. It's changed significantly for the better. Well,
and let's remind people, Conroe Cross Roads on Saturday the 14th, or Friday the 14th.
Yeah, I think I'll go on at 10 o'clock. I don't know who's before me. I have to apologize, but
You got the Chubby Knuckle Choir.
Okay.
I think they have a keyboardist.
All right.
I think
they got some singers too.
Yeah, they got a big group. They're a bit.
I'm not familiar with them.
I wouldn't call them a jam band, but I think of a jam band because every time I see them, they're all having fun.
Okay, well that's good.
So because sometimes you get like the bass guitars, it's just like, but like their guys like having fun.
Yeah, it's got it. Yeah, but I like to tell other musicians that the audience listens with their eyes. And that's a big thing. What you do visually on stage is a huge deal.
Well, we're gonna be featuring music from Steve following this interview, so stick around. Lone Star Community Radio, irlonestar.com, mornings with Lone Star. This whole week, we're dedicating all the music and all the interviews to Conroe Cross Roads. So get your tickets right now. Just look up Conroe Cross Roads. I put all the links for Steve below in all the descriptions, like where you can listen to his music, where you can follow him on tour, where you can get all social media, and especially where to buy his music. So we'll be right back here on Mornings with Lone Star. Thanks, Steve, for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to seeing you in the weekend.
Oh, heck yeah, man. So, but yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit. We're going to have more coming about Conroe Cross Roads. Stick around. You're listening to Mornings with Lone Star.